The HOA office door splintered inward at 6:43 a.m. Evelyn Harper shrieked as agents in windbreakers stormed the room, knocking over decorative baskets of fake lilies and ripping down a wall-mounted sign that read, "No solicitors," in bold lettering. She lunged for her landline, but it was too late. "Ma'am, you're being served a federal warrant for mail obstruction, wire fraud, and impersonating a USPS liaison," Agent Reynolds barked in a commanding tone. Evelyn gasped in disbelief. "But this is Coastal Pines Estates. We're a platinum-tier community." He replied, stern as steel, "Not anymore. I'm Nathan Brooks, and this is how I brought down the most notorious HOA president in our state's history. It all started when I moved back to Coastal Pines Estates to care for my ailing father, Henry. He was a retired carpenter, loved watching old westerns, and relied on twice-monthly medication deliveries for his heart condition. I kept to myself, mowing the lawn on weekends, fixing up the old fence posts, and grilling burgers like a man with nothing to prove. Life was simple, quiet, just how Dad and I liked it. Then came Evelyn Harper, HOA president and self-styled neighborhood standards enforcer. She saw me as a threat to her perfectly curated kingdom, too independent, she'd say, too laid back for her taste. When Dad's wheelchair ramp was installed by a licensed contractor, she called it a visual blight on the community aesthetic. The ramp was painted to match the house, built to code, and essential for Dad's mobility. But Evelyn didn't care about that. She only cared about her precious property values and upholding what she called the Coastal Pines standard. Things escalated when a UPS driver started making regular stops at our house. Evelyn declared this excessive delivery traffic and began documenting every package that arrived. She'd stand at her window with binoculars, notebook in hand, logging delivery times and package sizes like a suburban spy. First, she cited me for an unsanctioned ramp structure, claiming I needed HOA approval for exterior modifications. The fine was $150. Then came a citation for excessive driveway use, because apparently 2 delivery trucks in a week counted as commercial activity. Another $200 fine. But the final straw hit on a Tuesday morning when Dad's heart medication didn't arrive for 4 days straight. This wasn't just any medication, it was his beta blockers, the ones that kept his heart rhythm stable. Missing even one dose could land him in the hospital. I called the pharmacy immediately. They confirmed they'd sent it via certified mail 3 days ago. I checked with the post office, and they had a delivery confirmation showing it was delivered to our community. But according to the HOA security logs Evelyn so proudly maintained, the package was intercepted for compliance review. Evelyn had implemented a new policy without proper notification. All packages now had to be cleared at the HOA sorting center, really just a plastic storage bin outside the community clubhouse. No climate control, no security, just a bin baking in the Florida heat. I rushed to the clubhouse and found Dad's package torn open, contents clearly tampered with, a bright red sticker slapped across it reading "Return to sender, resident unverified." The medication had been exposed to 90 degrees Fahrenheit heat for days, potentially rendering it unsafe. That night, Dad's heart rate spiked to 160 beats per minute. I called 911, and paramedics rushed him to the emergency room. He spent 3 days in the cardiac unit while doctors stabilized his condition. The bill hit $32,000, and the doctor said we were lucky I got him there when I did. I filed a formal complaint with the HOA board, detailing how Evelyn's illegal mail interception nearly killed my father. Her response? A $75 fine for using aggressive fonts in my correspondence. Apparently, Times New Roman size 12 was too confrontational for her delicate sensibilities. What Evelyn didn't know was that I had connections from my previous life in the tech industry. Specifically, my old college roommate, Derek Sullivan, who now worked in cyber forensics at the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. When I told him what happened, his voice turned grave. "Nathan, interfering with mail delivery is a federal crime. If she's doing this to you, she's probably doing it to others." Derek launched an investigation that same week. Within days, they discovered Evelyn had been redirecting dozens of packages using fraudulent delivery hold forms. She'd created a fake title for herself, Elaine H. Harper, USPS Community Liaison, complete with a forged badge ordered from an online novelty shop. The investigation revealed she'd been opening packages, judging their contents, and either approving them for delivery or marking them for return based on her personal whims. Medications, especially for elderly residents, were frequently delayed or returned because she believed too many prescriptions indicated poor lifestyle choices. That fake USPS title triggered multiple federal alerts. Impersonating postal personnel is a felony. Interfering with mail delivery is a felony. Combine that with tampering with medical deliveries, and you're looking at serious federal charges. Derek told me they had enough evidence for criminal prosecution. I made one quiet call to the FBI field office, providing all the documentation I'd gathered. The raid was set for the following Monday morning when Evelyn would be in her office preparing her weekly compliance reports. The raid uncovered a shocking haul of evidence. Investigators found boxes of tampered packages in her office, some dating back 2 years. There were HOA fine ledgers with forged signatures, showing she'd been issuing fines without proper board approval. Most disturbing was a file labeled Non-Compliant Seniors. Phase 2, outlining plans to make life so miserable for elderly residents that they'd be forced to move. One document showed she'd been systematically targeting residents over 70 with excessive fines and package delays, hoping to drive them out so younger, more aesthetically pleasing families could move in. She'd written notes like, Mr. Larson's oxygen delivery delayed considering property acquisition opportunity, and Mrs. Chin's diabetes supplies marked suspicious monitor for vacancy. The HOA board members, who'd been under Evelyn's iron grip for years, resigned en masse within hours of the raid. They claimed they had no knowledge of her illegal activities, though documents showed they'd rubber-stamped her policies without question. The neighborhood response was immediate and overwhelming. Residents poured out of their homes to thank me, sharing their own stories of Evelyn's tyranny. One elderly man, Walter, burned his stack of HOA violation notices in his backyard grill, which happened to be shaped like an American flag. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. A woman named Lisa told me Evelyn had delayed her daughter's asthma inhaler delivery because she deemed monthly refills excessive. Another resident, Paul, said his wife's cancer medications had been returned 3 times because Evelyn decided the packages looked suspicious. Evelyn was hauled out in handcuffs at 7:30 a.m., right as the morning dog walkers made their rounds. Channel 6 local news somehow got wind of the raid and had a camera crew perfectly positioned to capture her being led to the federal vehicle. She was still in her lavender bathrobe and bunny slippers, screaming about property values and compliance standards. The federal prosecutor laid out the charges in detail: mail fraud, wire fraud, impersonation of a federal employee, and conspiracy to interfere with postal operations. Each charge carried potential prison time, and the evidence was ironclad: her fake badge orders from Etsy, the fraudulent USPS forms she'd filed, and testimonies from dozens of affected residents. In court, Evelyn tried to claim she was preserving mail purity and protecting the neighborhood from suspicious packages. The judge, a no-nonsense woman named Deborah Klein, read aloud Evelyn's Etsy order for a USPS liaison badge, complete with her special request for extra official-looking stars. The judge then quoted Evelyn's HOA memo titled Package Protocol, identifying suspicious prescription boxes, where she'd written that any pharmacy package was inherently suspicious and required thorough inspection to prevent drug trafficking in our pristine community. The prosecutor presented evidence that Evelyn's actions had caused over $300,000 in medical expenses due to delayed medications, not counting emotional distress or potential loss of life. 17 residents had been hospitalized due to medication delays, and 3 had nearly died. When sentencing came, the courtroom was packed with Coastal Pines residents. The judge looked directly at Evelyn and said, "Ms. Harper, you abused your position of trust, endangered lives, and violated federal law in pursuit of your twisted vision of a perfect neighborhood. Your actions were not just illegal, they were morally reprehensible." Evelyn was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison, 500 hours of community service, specifically at post offices, ordered to pay $450,000 in restitution to affected residents, and banned for life from serving on any HOA board in the United States. As the judge read the sentence, Evelyn's face went from pink to white to gray, and she collapsed into her chair with a wail that echoed through the courtroom.